Okay, so this is Tacobowler. Good morning, a League of Average Gaming YouTube. I have been streaming on JetNord's Twitch channel for a while, and that has hit a major pause, but he's invited me to come and do some of these timeline videos that he was doing over on his channel. So this is a game that I played off stream. This is my first ever run as a horde, and we achieved quite a few achievements here. Manchurian Candidate, King of China, These Banners Need a Saga, and Turning the Tide in this game. So I began as Jianzhou, so we're going to zoom in here, and we'll begin the timeline. I began, of course, we're a tributary of Ming at the beginning, so I began trying to coalesce the, I'm going to go a little slower, coalesce the region under my banner. We fought Korea. That was a difficult war, as I recall, but we managed. The second war went a little better. But basically just trying to take some of these over. We would take vassals here and there. Hyakse here is a vassal of mine at this moment in time. So we were just doing some of that. Cathar here is a vassal of mine. I remember that. At some point here, I think Anyu was allied to Korea. At some point, we took them as a vassal as well. That's important for later. But we're just trying to get a little stronger, At some point here, Ming does break the tributary. And at that point, I began trying to get tributaries of my own to prepare to be to take over the mandate, which you have to do to form king. Or Qing. So one of the things I did was get over here and touch Uzbek, so I could declare on them for tributary. And then Chagatai and Oryat also became tributaries as we went along. Oryat also, we suffered victory here by taking Cathar and growing them out. That's going to happen here in a moment. But basically I was trying to get the unguarded frontier disaster to fire. I don't think it ever really fired that well, but we did get Crisis of the Ming Dynasty, and then we have our first war against Ming that we took Beijing. So you can see that there. Here's the defeat of Oryat, and then I got Chagatai here as a tributary, and then some rebels would shift this land around a bunch throughout the whole game. Jin declared independence. I immediately took it over, and they didn't stay independent for very long. And about this time, I decided that I couldn't risk one of these three getting the mandate or the mandate disappearing, so I got the mandate and lost my horde status a little bit faster than I wanted to, but formed King, or Qing, after that. And so you can see the second war with Ming, I get down here into Jianzhou. Just, again, I'm preparing to take the mandate, preparing to get a little bit of mandate, that's the right word for it, before doing that. This is also the first time I played with the mandate, and this was in the Manchu patch. So here I annexed Qatar. I also at this point have, I think Caradel was a vassal, Sarajevo was a tributary, but I'm just pushing down, trying to avoid coalitions. There was a coalition at one point that fired with Wu Yu and Dali, all them, joining in, Lanzang, the big opponent actually of the whole thing. I think that's when I got Chu here as a vassal as well. You can see the Caradel here is splitting me up, but that's because I could walk through Caradel. And we're just here. I think these guys were a vassal at one point. You actually get an event that puts Wu Yu and Dali as your marches, which I didn't know about. But they declared independence on me at one point, and they lost. So that was there. At this point, the game is kind of mine. The goal would have been we needed to own all of China as king, or Qing. And so that's kind of what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to mop up the land here, trying to take them and annex Chu and Caradel. And at one point, Sarajevo got a piece of China, so I had to break tributary with them, find ways to do that. But I'm also not that rushed about it because I also have to embrace all institutions. So I began to try and mop up some borders, and I began to try and make tributaries down here, which I successfully would tributary like all of this, as well as still holding Uzbek and Oryat and Yarkland and things like that as tributaries. So that would be there, and here I'm just annexing things slowly. Eventually over here you will see that I will try and make Anyu bigger and get rid of Japan harassing me. And I will turn Anyu into all of Japan. At some point down here, Champa will be eaten out of Ayutha. Oh, there goes Anyu down here. The basic idea, just trying to get rid of things that were enemies and grow stronger so that I didn't have to worry about being attacked by anybody. And that was done. Here's Champa. They were a vassal of mine that I carved out of Lanzang here, and would try and just get something down south that I could land troops on, something that would be a little bit of a help in southern wars. I would eventually get something over here, waiting for that to form. But those were my 3 vassals. The rest of everything was tributaries. We'll go to a diplomatic screen at the end of this. But I'm just eating things, slowly annexing things, trying to get here. Oh, Arakan, here it is. So that's the vassal here. Arakan was the vassal just over here, just something to be able to help with wars in the area. And Arakan there grows all of the western area, Champa here. But it couldn't grow too big because Anyu was starting to get disloyal over here, and I was feeding them all of Japan, whether they liked it or not. So eventually I stop growing and just get to the institution. I start building libraries everywhere, just trying to get ready for enlightenment in that last institution. We'll take Wu, and then that will be King of China, or Qing of China, however you want to pronounce the actual pun. And then we'll finish off Japan in a couple of wars, and then I just kind of coast out. So we'll speed up at that point, probably. We'll go ahead and speed up here. You can see Japan starting to get eaten, but I was just dealing with things. Ayutthaya, I think, declared independence or something. I eventually had to cut them down to size. You see that here, giving land to my tributaries and things, making them a tributary as well. I'm sure I fought wars down to get more tributaries down here as well, but I was just basically trying to just get through at this point. We'll go super fast. I do have a province here. That was probably to get a claim on Brunei, or a tributary thing on Brunei, which I eventually obviously get. And we're just playing just to do something, I think. So that is my first run as a horde. And you can see the diplomatic view here. Like I said, the vassals are Arakan, Champa, and Anyu. The rest of everything is a tributary, and you can see the massive tributary list that I have, the mandate growth that I had of 0.45. I don't think I ever did this to be worth it. Any of these to be worth it, since I wasn't growing any further. I was just waiting for an institution. But that was my first game. I enjoyed playing as the Emperor of China. I didn't enjoy playing as a horde that much, but I think one of the problems was that I was going for these banners need a Saga, so I kept having more banners up than I really would have liked. And so the finances of keeping cavalry up were a little bit more than I would have liked. So perhaps a second run as a horde without having to worry about that and making it a little more balanced than it was would be nice. But I did enjoy this game, and I hope you have enjoyed this bit. See you next time.